Okay, this core philosophy is called Diagnosis 101. Now, the accountant in me is coming out here, the one who's done the Bachelor of Commerce, where accounting starts with 101 and economics starts with 101. It's the basics, it's the matter of fact, it's the stuff that no one wants to talk about when you're given that final diagnosis. Those uncomfortable discussions about funerals, if you even like that word F that begins with an F. Some people like to call it an end of life celebration. Many people don't want to go there and talk about that. And maybe some of these things are what you don't talk about at the very beginning when the diagnosis has first happened. You wait a little while, you let all that emotion and everything else, lava, I call it often, bubble out of the volcano. And once it's settled, then you can start talking about some of these things, the practicalities of what happens between now and when you do pass away, and then afterwards. There are so many complicated things that can happen if you don't prepare for your final journey, whether it be to do with finances, whether it be to do with secrets, whether it be to do with unresolved business, whether it be even to do with not planning your funeral and not wanting to talk about it. So many people who are diagnosed, they haven't worked out the lava. They haven't been able to process it, and they stay in this place of denial, anger, regret, anger at the world. Some people are still bitter. They don't want to sort out their final affairs and they leave things in a mess. That is just not okay. It is not okay. And I feel fortunate that I intuitively knew what to do, but Phil never talked about the funeral, never talked about anything, didn't even want to give up hope until that last 150 minutes when he was passing away on that last day. I intuitively knew what to do, God given intuition, I suppose, and I listened to it and it was perfect. Everything about it was perfect. Most people don't know. Most people haven't processed all of their own grief. That when I talk about most people, I talk about spouses, families, and things like that who it's just an emotional mess and nothing gets sorted. So there are many things that need to be looked at, actually, frankly. And this is where an intermediary, someone coming in to have these tough discussions, is perfect. So it doesn't have to be between the person who is at their end stage and family. And that's often where the gaps are. This is the perfect time for the person who is at the end stage of their life to let go of the secrets, to just let everything out. And it may even be that they don't want it spoken about until after they've passed away. It may be when the affairs, the other family that exist, other children that exist, all that sort of thing. You share it with someone else. You share it with someone else. It gets documented or recorded or something so that when you've gone, then there can be some form of healthy completion or something, because quite often the other family is going to come out and say, hey, we're here. Things like that, believe it or not, I know people who this has happened to exactly this way, and it didn't get found out until the funeral. In fact, Phil, to be perfectly honest, found out on the day his mother died of suicide. She suicided. Phil then found out that he actually had another sister, and that was a secret that caused his mother's depression all of those years and never got resolved. She died with that secret. Only a few people knew. Her other two sons didn't know. And Phil never got over his mother's death because of that secret. And he spent the next 3 years looking for his sister and he found her. This is the kind of stuff that is so important that comes out before a funeral. Other things, of course, financial matters. Big things need to be sorted properly before you're gone, before the person is gone. That is vital, because otherwise there will be a mess. And I know again of other people who you would think, big business people, they've got, everything sorted, lawyers and accountants, all that, but it left a nightmare for his wife of many, many years. first and only wife with children, still left her with a mess to fight with lawyers and accountants and things like that. This is the practicality. These are things that must be looked at, and where it can be where someone else comes in, that confidant who discusses this sort of thing. Look, you may want to also keep your legacy, just like Steve Jobs did. As soon as he was diagnosed, he got someone to document his life, his story. It can be in the form of a book, it can be a digital legacy in some way, but many people want to have a beautiful book written. This is another practicality. Other things, when I talk about digital legacy, who do you want to look after your social media once you're gone? Do you want it closed down straight away? Do you want it to be a month? Do you want people to be able to post in your social media? Things like that. Of course, you need to have your will sorted, and there could be things there that someone doesn't want to talk about, but you can share it with your confidant, your mentor, privately. Passwords. It may be that you should give your passwords to one other person so that when you're gone, they change the passwords. Are there letters that need to be written? Are there things that need to be said to other family members before you've gone and after you're gone? Gosh, it goes on. Diagnosis 101 is big, actually. You may actually want to go to your medical appointments with someone else. You may want someone else to be the person that shares that sort of information with family members as well, instead of family coming to appointments. All sorts of things. I could go on forever about what Diagnosis 101 means, but it is the practicalities just to stop the pain later on for those you leave behind. But you know what? It's also to clear what is inside you. Some of those big secrets and things like that, you may just want to say them once and once alone. And this is where I often talk about this bubble, where the person who is passing away goes into a bubble with me, the person who they have engaged to walk beside them on this journey. And this bubble can be for anything. It could be for your end of life celebration. It could be for you sharing a big, deep, dark secret that you want written down and shared after you're gone. Whatever it is, it's something that the end of life person is unable to deal with and don't want to go there, but they feel safe enough to go there with someone else. And it may be for 30 minutes, it may be for 60 minutes. This is where we will go for that time, and this is where you finish it off. This is where you say what you need to say, and then it is finished, it is complete. Oh, I've actually written quite a lot of, here we go. Do you want to be an organ donor? Do you have an advanced care plan? All of these things. Your funeral. Who do you want to be present? Who do you specifically don't want there? Handing out of letters. What do you want said at your funeral? It goes on and on and on. I could talk a lot about this. Anyway, that is the general idea. The matter of fact, practicalities of things that need to be done before you are gone, and so that things are in order after you are gone as well. That's it.